It's a pleasure to have with us Colonel Suresh Kumar Sharma, one of India's COVID warriors. Welcome, Colonel Sharma, to the show.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well,
Thank you
I'd
very
like
much.
to all my viewers out there, those of you who have questions that you want Colonel Sharma to answer, please feel free to type in your questions at that little box with a question mark, and I'm going to read out the questions to you during this hour, and he'll definitely answer you. So let's get on with the introduction of Colonel Sharma before I put my first question to him. Colonel Sharma has served in the Indian Army as an infantry officer for 27 years. During his tenure, he has been an instructor in 3 very prestigious institutions of the armed forces. He's had some very difficult tenures, including serving at the Siachen Glacier. Well, in the year 2007, he moved out into the corporate arena and joined the Tata Group for some time. And then he joined Jindal. And 8 years back, he joined the Reliance Group of companies. In March 2020, that's 2 months ago, he and his colleagues set up the Seven Hills Hospital into a COVID-19 hospital. Well, as a true Fauji, he's a golfer, an avid golfer. He's a foodie and he does marathon running. Welcome to my show, Colonel Sharma. So good to have you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. My pleasure.
In fact, we are very grateful that you're here today to answer some of the very difficult questions a lot of us have, in store for you. So let me begin with my first question. That is, how long have you, served in the army? I know 27 years, but then I think just run us through your army life for my viewers of those who haven't been in the armed forces.
Right, ma'am. Like you said, I have served for 27 years. And I was commissioned into the infantry in 8th Kumaon Regiment. And I have served in the Northeast for almost 3 tenures. In Siachen, they were very difficult and the highest battlefield. And the various institutions, I have been instructor in 3 of the prestigious institutions. I have enjoyed my army tenure quite a bit. And it was a pleasure and an honor to serve the motherland while wearing a uniform. I have done a lot of courses with distinction, and because of those performance in the courses, I was rewarded with these tenures in various institutions of the defense. Thank you.
Amazing, wonderful. And Colonel Sharma, so you have been serving for 27 years. As quite a lot as an infantry officer. So now you were part of the team responsible to set up Seven Hills Hospital as a COVID-19 hospital under the Reliance Foundation. Take us through that journey.
Actually, madam, this journey started in the year 2012 when I joined Reliance Industries Limited in Sir H.N. Reliance Foundation Hospital, looking after the security. I worked there for almost 3.5 years, and after 3.5 years, I was transferred to some other location within the Reliance Industries. Now, this experience of the hospital, actually, that was the reason for me to be chosen to provide support in this for the security. Now, when this pandemic broke out of this COVID-19, there was a requirement of creating COVID-19 the facilities for the COVID-19 patients in Mumbai, especially. Right. So the Reliance had also chipped in, and they provided full support to renovate the Seven Hills Hospital, which was lying closed for almost 3 to 4 years.
4 years, okay.
Yes. So because this hospital had gone into some litigation, and after that, one team was put together by the Reliance, in which the medical team, the project team, the security, the IT, the housekeeping, and all the connected services, the electrical and the engineering and all, they were put together to ensure that the facility is brought up in the speediest of the time.
Right.
So this was on the 14th of March. I was told to take charge of the security.
Okay.
And actually, that day was a Saturday. I remember very well, because I was playing golf, and I had barely finished my game of golf when I got this message that I had to rush to the Seven Hills Hospital.
Okay.
So I went there and joined the team, and there was a meeting in which the initial briefing was given out, that how we have to go about establishing this facility. So for the first week, there was no problem, because till 22nd, there was a little bit of planning, and some vendors and some contractors had been mobilized, and some movement of material had already started. But on 22nd of March, the Prime Minister declared Janta curfew. So everything came to standstill. Everything came to standstill on Sunday as well as the next day, Monday, because we were not very clear as what's going to happen next. Thereafter, the 2-3 days, again the things were before we could mobilize the things, the lockdown was announced.
Right.
So the complete halt was there for movement of stores or material which was required for renovation of the hospital. All the shops in the town were closed. The transport was not moving. The people were not allowed to move. Now, in this difficult conditions, the project team was finding it difficult to carry out their task.
Right.
So, but as a security head, my main task was the core duty was to provide asset protection, in which the patients of the hospital were to be included later on, and till that time, the property. And also, I was to ensure the movement of the material which was to come from outside, that the entire noting down and putting the stamps and ensuring that the passes are made. We call it OGP, outgoing passes. So that all those the system was set up. I had to build a new team. Absolutely, people were whenever they heard about pandemic, they were very apprehensive whether they should take up the job of the security guard there or not. So I had to motivate those people to start and I built a team of about 40 people, including 5 to 6 lady guards also.
Right.
Then the other task was the liaison with the government authorities as well as the police.
Right.
Now this liaison became very important during lockdown. I had to go to the police authorities with the request letters to allow the shops to be opened at various locations in the town, even out of the town, and also allow the vehicles to move so that they can ferry the stores to Seven Hills Hospital.
And at this time, were you wearing your masks? Were you wearing your mask at this time, or this time you were not wearing masks?
Yeah, no. Right on the 14th onwards, we had started wearing our PPEs, masks, our goggles, and also at times we were wearing gloves also. So these things were provided to us. So whenever we used to take people on board, the more briefing used to be on personal protection first and then security later, because the scenario had changed. You cannot provide security unless you are yourself safe. So then all the essential on the vehicle windshield, we had to put essential duties clipboard, which had to be signed by the police senior inspector of the police thana. So that became a task for me, and I had to go to the police stations, get all these letters signed. Then for movement of the people, I had to make the identity cards, which I had signed with my own signatures, and giving essential duties, of course, after taking permission and from the police and the BMC, that is Mumbai Municipal Corporation. Yeah. Then, so doing all this, the liaison and the things started rolling thereafter. So within about a fortnight, we were able to prepare about 30 beds, including 2 ICU beds, and the patients started pouring in immediately after, within a fortnight. And within next fortnight, we were able to build another 100, and then we added on another 100 later on. So that's how we prepared this hospital and put the team together, and all of us worked with each other and kept helping each other and kept moving up, going out of the way to find solutions to whatever problems were coming up. Even the movement of the staff was a problem, and we had to then arrange vehicles for their movement, and we had to put people on duty. As far as the security was concerned, we gave them accommodation to stay within the hospital. The food was provided by the company, very generous of them, and they only had to provide. They only had to do the duties. So that's how we put it together, and the hospital was ready to take on all the COVID patients.
Wow, that's quite a journey. And then on 30th April, you did the COVID test yourself, and the results came positive. So, Colonel Sharma, what was the signs and symptoms? Was this a routine test that you went through, or did you develop some symptoms? Because you seem to be working so hard. I mean, like 2 fortnights, you had from nothing, you created a 100-bedded hospital. And then was these symptoms which came, or it was just a routine check where your test came positive?
Actually, ma'am, on after having served for almost a month plus, then and a lot of patients who were in the wards already. So then I requested the medical team that my entire security team needs to undergo the test themselves, so to ensure that they are all negative. So this process started on 20th. So on 20th, half the people were tested, in which I ensured that all my 20 guards were tested on 20th, and rest of the people, myself and also other 3 or 4 Reliance security officers, we were tested on 23rd. So now this 23rd report of mine, I got it on 25th, which was negative. So I was quite happy. So on 26, 27, I started developing mild fever. So then I spoke to the doctor. Doctor said, since the report is negative, so this might be a viral fever or something. So I asked her that what should I do? So I took a crocin and a paracetamol or something, and then tried to suppress the fever. 2-3 days passed like that, and slowly the fever started becoming very high. It went up to 102.5. Okay. So then I thought there's something fishy in this, or I must undergo a test again, because then I started getting my sore throat and a little bit of cough, and then little bit of problem in breathing, holding the breath. So then I thought, I think I got that, because I was listening to the TV news and all thing, and in all the media, there was only COVID and nothing else. So we were quite aware of the symptoms and all. So then I went in for the test again on 30th. I requested the medical team, my test was taken, and on 2nd of May, it was declared as positive. And by that time, my condition had, gone a little more bad because of the fever and all. And I had started feeling a little bit of fatigue. And then I moved to the hospital, the same hospital where I was providing security cover. I became, from the Corona warrior, I became a Corona fighter. So I went and got admitted myself in one of the wards. It was a totally isolation room. And also thereafter, I was worried about my family also. And the symptoms, then I thought on 2nd, I got admitted. On 3rd, they're very nice of the company, my company, that they sent the team to test them in situ, in-house itself. And the test was taken on 3rd of May. And on 5th of May, they were also declared positive, all of them.
Okay. So did they have any symptoms, Colonel Sharma? Your family, did they have any symptoms? It was just, again, because you were exposed to them, you asked for this test.
Yeah, actually, basically, I was the carrier, so I think there was more virus load within me, and I transferred this to my family. But they were basically asymptomatic, but they were different for different people. Like my younger daughter had no fever, no symptoms at all. My elder daughter had fever for a day and sore throat for 2 days, and then she became all right. My wife is diabetic. She is, hypertension, and she has a problem of cholesterol. And I was very worried about her. And she then, but she also had fever for a day, and then thereafter she had loose motion for more than a week. but majorly they were okay. There were no symptoms at all.
Okay.
So that's how our symptoms and all were playing up on us.
So, Colonel Sharma, how did you, I mean, like this is devastating. How did you actually react when the whole family came negative? Because so this is
Positive.
something which one is your, yeah, sorry, this is something you're working for, to build the COVID hospital and to, make it feasible for treatment. And suddenly here you are in a situation where not only you and all your family and your brother-in-law, they all have kind of tested positive. So what were the indicators that were they also with you in the hospital when you were admitted, or were they quarantined at home?
No, they were not admitted since they were asymptomatic. So they were the doctors advised that they can be quarantined within the home, and the medication and all was provided within here itself. And they were the doctors were overseeing, and they were asking every day, and is there any problems or anything. And also the psychologist from the SRHN hospital gave a call to my wife 2-3 times, boosting up the morale and all that. So there was no problem about they were for quarantine. They were quarantined within the home only. So they were not hospitalized. Only I was hospitalized there.
And how often were the tests conducted on them? Because you were under the hospital guidance, you were under that treatment, but they were now quarantined in their own home. So was there some mechanism where they were getting tested once a week or once, or were there any kind of tests required for them to, do and send it to the hospital?
Actually, the test is not, because the medication which was given, that was for 10 days. So the medication had started even before the testing, because when I was declared positive, so the doctors gave the medicine from third itself. The medication was started, and third itself was the test was conducted. So for 10 days, the medication was there, and there is no requirement of testing before 10 to 12 days. That is what generally that's what we were told by the
Okay, so 10 days medication, and basically, what about the building, Colonel Sharma, where you were staying? Was the building quarantined, where the neighbors told that, okay, this is a family which is, have come COVID positive, or was your lane quarantined? How was that process? I mean, when it came to quarantine?
Yeah, so then what happened, the moment I was declared positive and I was on my way to the hospital, I gave a call to the society president and told him this is my situation and I'm going to the hospital and my family is there and they will be tested and later, and then only we will get to know. So he was very positive. He said, sir, you don't worry at all. You just look after yourself. You don't worry about the family. We are there to look after. And the BMC was informed by them, and BMC came and they quarantined the entire floor. There are only 2 houses on each floor in my building. So they quarantined the floor, and the entire building was not quarantined. So that was and the society, there are about 6-7 buildings in the society. So my building was only quarantined during that period.
So, Colonel Sharma, what was your experience during your stay in the hospital? You said you were in an isolated room, so it was not like a ward, it was a room. So, what was your experience as in terms of whether, a lot of people wearing so hospital staff must have been in their hazmat masks and all that. But then was it very scary for you? How was your experience in the hospital, people who were near you and your co-patients?
Yeah, the experience, actually when you just get down from the vehicle and start walking in, that time your, the experience starts becoming a little horrendous. The moment you get out, you are treated as if, you come from some different planet, and people try to shy away from you. There is a person who's standing with a sanitization pump with him, and he will first sanitize you all over the body. Then you come in and you do the documentation and all, stand there for some time. Thereafter, you start walking, and this sanitization person will start walking behind you, and he will start sanitizing the entire route till the time you reach your ward. So that kind of thing, when you see, it looks as if, something very drastic has happened to you. But yes, that is required because if you are oozing out some virus which can infect others, so that sanitization is basically to kill that. That is required. So, but it gives an impression to the person that something drastic has happened to me. So then I was brought to the ward, and I was immediately hushed into the room. And thereafter, for 8 days, I was in that room. I did not see the outside of the even the corridor. I did not open my room at all. And all the nurses, the doctors, even the housekeeping staff, they would come in with a complete PP set. You cannot differentiate one from the other. You really had to, when the doctor used to come, she would come and say, I am Dr. So-and-so, and then I would get to know, oh, the doctor has come for a visit. And, you feel as if some aliens are roaming around you, you're lying on a bed, and these people are with a full PP. They have to do it because they have to protect themselves, because we are the carriers and we can spread that when you are positive. So they had to take all the precautions, and very nice of them. They were really very looking after. They would provide the medicine in time. The moment I landed, the next day I was x-rayed with a mobile x-ray machine. There was ECG taken. Then I was put on a drip. For first 4 days, I was put on a drip because I have very high fever and all that. So all the antibiotics and all were going through the drip. And there was a TV in the room. All the bathroom was attached. So the facilities were there all. But being isolated in a room with this condition, one felt, And later on, I learned that, my daughters had given a, shut up call to all my relatives that nobody will call my papa because you get disturbed, they get disturbed. Any update required, they'll take from us. So for first 4 or 5 days, I was surprised that there are no calls coming at all to me. So but that is required because that is the time, you don't need to be disturbed by various phone calls and all, because everybody is worried. Everybody wants to know what is happened, and the same questions, same replies, one gets irritated. So that is first 4 or 5 days, it was a respite. And later on, I learned that this is the trick that my daughters had played. And then later on, once I became a little okay, then I started calling up all my relatives and friends and my course mates and everybody like that. So the treatment as the experience of mine was concerned in the hospital was excellent. And I would also like to talk about experience of my family here when they were at, quarantined. They were provided the medicines I told you on the 3rd itself. Then within themselves, they were they were all doing social distancing. They were also quarantined in different rooms. Everybody was to one room themselves, and there was no meeting around with each other. And there were separate utensils for everybody. So they were marked on behind the plate, like with the letters, so that there are no intermixing of the food. After having the food, everybody will wash their own utensils. And along with this, the problem of house chores, the house management, cooking food, getting the material from outside, that was a big problem. The biggest problem was the waste management. We could not throw that outside because we do not open our door after 3rd at all. And all the waste, then my wife and the children, they devised the method outside they kept a big parat, and we kept throwing the waste into that. And the sun used to come there, and so a little bit of thing got dried up in that. So for the last 21 days, the waste was not moved from that place, and it was we kept collecting them. Then I told you the society was very positive. The company was very, very positive. Immediate boss and the vertical president, the security president, they were all very worried about me. They used to call me and find out. Even my family was called by their wives, and they used to find out their well-being. And they ensured that also from the company side, the cooked food was also provided in the throwaway packings. So the food started coming after 3 days. Earlier, I think my wife was asked whether we will be sending the food. She refused. But after one day, then we said because there are a lot of fatigue to the children and to her by doing this house chores. So then even I said that you must take the food so that it is a help to tide over this problem. So the company was a big support. They provided the food, the support, the medical support, and also the sanitization. They would send the sanitization team. They sent the sanitization team, and we got the house sanitized once in between after about 10-12 days. So that is what my experience has been through this.
So, Colonel Sharma, it must have been very stressful. I mean, the mental stress must have been at a different level, because here it was not only the physical pressure of doing your home work in isolation, cooking and doing everything in isolation, but also that a little stress on that will, especially for you, you were hospitalized, you went with a little breathlessness, you had high fever, whether you will deteriorate or whether you'll become okay. I mean, there was so much of mental stress. So that must have taken quite a toll, right, on you and your
Yes.
wife and the children?
Yeah.
Must have.
Actually, I'm reminded of Field Marshal Manekshaw's one of the speeches in which he mentioned that when there is danger to life, and if somebody says that he is not afraid, or he doesn't have fear of life, then he is telling lies or he's a Gorkha. And I'm not, right? So to tell you the fact that I was quite, worried. There are a lot of anxiety, and I did feel that fear that since I had already crossed the senior citizenship line, and in the media we were always listening that people who are on the higher age bracket, they are more, the danger is more to them, and also the morbidity to my wife with the diabetes and the hypertension and all this, she was more prone to having problems. So all these things, there was a lot of stress, and also listening to the news of this pandemic, COVID pandemic. Every day you're listening that so many people have become positive, so many people have died, so many people have they're not getting treatment. Some people are not even being looked up. So all that atmosphere had created that kind of fear in us, and I was really afraid for my entire family, for myself also, and for my family also. But as you say, being a soldier, we are all trained to fight this stress and strain. So I did, and since my family, at least some portion of my training has gone to them also, and they were also very positive to fight it, and they did a good job, and they never lost. Their attitude was always positive. With positive corona, we were positive. Attitude was also positive, and we did fight this, and we became a good corona fighters, and we have won this battle. I have to say, because now all of us, our report has come, and all of us are now negative.
That's awesome. That's super awesome. So now, Colonel Sharma, you must be feeling like one of those, superheroes. I've got all the antibodies in the world. Now I can go to the mall, I can go to the gym, I can go in the street bindas because I have all the antibodies. I don't have to worry about anything. It must be now a different scenario right now for you and for the children and for Mrs. Sharma.
No, ma'am, what I would say, there is no such thing like superhuman, because there is no conclusive study which says conclusively that there will be no relapse case. Now, we don't want to become, gamas in the land of lamas. There is no point. We have to take all the precautions. When we go out, at present we are still quarantined, we are not going out much, though within the society we started going out and taking a walk and all, but we take all precautions, we wear our masks, and whenever the lockdown opens, we will be taking full precautions. Now, what we are happy is that we have been able to fight the COVID-19, and that is our happiness. And of course, what we hear from doctors, and like you made the statement, that our fighting spirit has become better against the virus. For that, now we feel happy that we have become good plasma donors, and we have already registered to donate our plasma if there is a requirement by any patient, if he needs that. And all this was made possible, that feeling of superhuman was because of our support from the family, the relatives, the friends, the coach mates, and the blessings from all the people. It has helped us. And also, which one point I forgot to cover earlier was, we kept having hot water, we kept doing gargles, we kept having kada, which we used to make ourselves from the things which are available in the kitchen.
Yeah, what the kadas, you could just elaborate it, Colonel Sharma, for the benefit of my viewers.
Yeah, so the kada, what we used to do is we used to put 5-6 cups of water, and in that then we used to put dalchini powder, then ajwain, saunf, adrak, haldi, kali mirch, and tulsi. So these 7 things we used to put in that, and we boil it for about say half an hour or so. And when it used to be reduced by about a quantity of 1 cup or 1.5 cup, then not to 1.5, but by 1.5 cup. So that if we put 6 cups, when it becomes about 5 cups or 4.5 cups, then we used to take it out and have that kada twice a day. And if somebody cannot have this, I used to put honey in this, so it becomes a little more tasty to have it. So honey also adds to your so that's how you. And also we kept doing, other than this, we kept doing pranayam and exercises that we do not leave. Initially 4 or 5 days I could not do because of the breathlessness, but later on I forced myself to do this, and we are doing about half an hour to 45 minutes pranayam, and we have to build our immune system, because the virus load behaves differently with different people only because of the immune system of the individual. So if we build our immune system, we'll be able to fight the battle.
Absolutely. I have a question from Aarti Bhagri. She writes to ask that in the hospital, what was the kind of treatment that you had received?
Treatment, ma'am, if I would not, I actually had not asked, but I was told that there is HCQ which is being given, and some antibiotics which were being given through the drip, then vitamin C, and some the pan 40 and AZ and Dolo. So these kinds of medicines were being given, but this was left entirely to the discretion of the doctor. I did not interfere at all because that was not my field. So I was there to get treated. I could not influence, and I did not want to go to the internet and then see whether I am being correctly being done and all that. I had left that to the doctors, and they did a good job. I came out of it within about 6-7 days, 8 days. I was home. Actually, what happened was I was sent home after 10 days, after 8 days of hospitalization, and I joined my family here.
Okay. So she also wants to know that are you still on medication after coming home? Are you still on any kind of medication?
No, in fact, I had asked the doctor once our medicine finished after 10 days. Then I asked the doctor, no, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to continue with the medicine so that we procure one? They said, no, nothing required. You just relax, build up your immune system, and just take care, and this social distancing and that wearing of mask and all those things. Nothing, no medication to be continued thereafter.
So there's another question. There's Chitra Chaturvedi who would want you to please repeat the ingredients of the kada slowly.
Okay. So firstly, I would say though you have to take water as per your requirement. Then in that you have to put let's say, so suppose you take 4 cups. Then say more than half, 3/4 of a teaspoon dalchini powder. Then a teaspoon of ajwain and saunf, about 1 dessert spoon of saunf. Then tulsi, it could be tulsi leaves, or that could be a twig which has got leaves, seeds on the top. That could be put in the kada. Then kale mirch powder you can take, or if the powder is not there, you just beat them up and make a powder of it, about half a teaspoon. Then adrak, say about again 1 teaspoon, and 1 haldi powder, about half a teaspoon. So all these are 7 items which we used, and after boiling it, you let it boil for about 15-20 minutes or half an hour, and then you cool it a little, but don't have it cold. You have to have it hot as much as you can bear. You should not burn your throat, but it should not be cold also. That is what. And if you don't like the taste, you can put honey. Don't add sugar or anything else, only honey.
Absolutely. So, Colonel Sharma, you have passed through an experience which all of us dread. I think it's our worst nightmare to not only get COVID positive yourself, but also to your loved ones. You know, you've been through, I think, hell and back, and it's such a worst nightmare that we all dread to have. So, what would be your practical do's and don'ts right now to a family? What would be a practical that this is how you must prepare yourself? One is that prevent yourself, but in case you get it, you know, how do you prepare yourself for this eventuality?
Okay, so first is for preventing. For preventing, like I said, you have to build your immune system. Now, for building the immune system, you have to do exercises. You cannot go out now for running around and all that. So, within the society, if you can take rounds, that's good. In the house itself, do yoga, do pranayam. That is so that this is only to build up your immune system, and also have a cup of kada. You need not have 2-3. You can have just 1 cup is in the morning. That is enough. Cup of kada, that will build your immune. I'm also told that, which we did not try, that Chyawanprash is also good to build your immune system. So some people can have a spoon of Chyawanprash also. So initially you have to build the immune system and nothing else. And don't you have to follow all the norms which are laid down. You cannot crowd around. If you're going out, use the mask, PP, everything, and do not eat anything outside. All those things. Then nothing has happened to you. Avoid cold. That has to be taken care of. Now, if by bad luck, like my family, if you become corona positive, then the do's and don'ts which have to be followed, I would say social distancing is very important because if there are 3-4 members or 2 members, whatever number, the social distancing, you have to sleep in different rooms. You have to keep the distance within each other. You have to ensure all the safety precautions, like wearing of mask. You have to ensure, even when you're roaming around within the room, if you have to. Then you have to build your immune system, continue building your immune system, which you have already started, but you have to continue building that immune system. And you have to, in case there are symptoms, you must consult the doctor. Don't wish them away. You have to speak to the doctor and say that these are the symptoms, and then you must get tested. If the symptoms are there, you must get tested. Don't postpone it. And be mentally sturdy. Do not panic, because nothing will, and be supportive to the person who is a positive patient. Like my family entire family became positive. My society was very, very supportive, and I was worried, actually, because I had heard in very many societies that they were ill-treating the people, and they were treating them as if they have done some crime. But my society was really a role model to emulate in this case. They were very if I wanted milk or I wanted bread, or I had to order on the gate. I requested one of my friends to leave some money on the gate with a guard, and the guard would pay the person and send it here. So he would keep his hisab kitab on a book, like how much money has been spent. So when the money got finished, I requested some other friend, you please go and give 1,000 rupees to him. So like that, the society was very helpful. They told the guard, whatever is required, you must help them out. And the management is also very, very helpful in doing this. So these are the do's which you must follow. Now, as for the don'ts are concerned, first thing is that you should not panic. The moment you come to know that it's a pandemic, COVID, corona, people think that you're going to die. No.
Yeah.
Your immune system and the medication and the love and affection of your family members, your friends will see you through, right? And do not believe in rumors and fake news. That is killing. That is actually killing. Do not, fall prey to that. And don't self-medicate. If like I also kept hearing from people that should I start taking HCQ because in anticipation only. So I asked the doctor for his benefit because my coachmate was asking. So she said no. If you're not coming in contact with any patients, don't do any self-medication and don't take any dose of any HCQ or anything. And now I believe HCQ has also been banned by the WHO. But the things are changing. But things are changing every day because nobody knows this virus. The behavior of this virus, nobody knows. There's no medication. There's no vaccine. So there are problems. And everybody is, giving his own opinion based on some or the other experience, right? And ours is based on our experience. And one of the biggest don'ts is don't consume cold water, cold drinks, or ice cream, things like that. Cold is a big no-no. So these are the do's and don'ts which I can think of.
So we have another query, Rachna Kumar. She wants to know, can you get a relapse of the COVID virus? I don't know whether it's too early to tell that, but this is a question that she has posted.
Yeah, what you said is that's too early because that, like I told you, there's no conclusive study carried out anywhere to say that the relapse will not happen. But what people are saying that since you have more fighting, spirit, all our virus within our body, we have developed the cells which can fight the coronavirus, and that is why we can become the plasma donors for the people who are at the last stage. So our fighting capability will be much more. It will, with great difficulty, I will be able to catch if I want to. I will have to make all the efforts to do that. So, but that's why I told you that we don't want to get into that. We will have to take all the precautions even after getting this becoming positive. Don't think that nothing is going to happen to you. That because virus, nobody knows the behavior of this virus. That is the problem. So I would advise that relapse may happen. I'm not sure about it because I'm not an expert on this. The medical people after study can give their this thing. But we are not going to take chances in any case. That's as far as my family is concerned. That I can assure you.
I can completely understand that. And Colonel Sharma, you're seeing the situation around us. You're seeing airlines. You're seeing the way people are changing their lifestyle. You're seeing so many things. So, what is your take on this new normal that we're seeing around us?
New normal, man. Now is the time of sanitizers, hand washing, frequent hand washing with soap, social distancing. Work from home is a new culture now, which very many companies may go in for even after the lockdown is done away with. Then the workplaces will have to come up with some isolation rooms in workplaces. In case some person develops a symptom, something, the person will have to be put in the isolation room immediately and medical support provided. And the office spaces will have to be reworked. Every person, between two persons, the different distance has to be at least 1 to 2 meters so that there's no crowding around. And there has to be non-contact access system of the for access system as well as for the attendance, because when you go to the office, you put your hand or finger or the card on the machine. That has to be non-contact, and you have to like everybody. The government is also requesting and insisting that we must install Arogya Setu. That has to be one of the apps on your mobile for the times to come, and there has to be change in travel norms. You cannot travel freely as you could do earlier. If you know Mumbai, ma'am, the local trains have stopped. Moment they start, because the traveling in local trains, you are actually getting into one each other. There is no air can pass through when the rush is full. So that kind of rush is there. So the travel change norms will have to change. You will have to leave a space in between to sit even in the air travel and all that. and the payment norms will have to be changed. There will be no actual transfer of cash. You will have to pay either through the Paytm or through the online or whatever things. But I'm quite sure if the treatment comes out or the vaccine comes out, then we can go back to the old normal.
But there's so much that we have learned in this new normal about ourselves. So I'm sure that we are going to take in a lot of new things that we have learned about our lifestyle and incorporated. I have again another question by Aarti Bhagdi. She asks, are there right now any preventive medicine taken by the COVID warriors on duty? Would you have any answer to that? Is there any preventive medicine that the doctors are prescribing?
Madam, that I will not be in a position to comment on that. But yes, what I can say is with the doctors whom I had informal talks with them. So they would take a dose of HCQ, those who came in direct contact with the COVID positive patients, not anybody else. So only for those, they would take some preventive dose of HCQ. I don't know the intensity or the time as to whether they are taking twice a day or once a week or what that. So that I would not be able to comment on that. But yes, they are taking something.
Right. And I think Chitra Chaturvedi has again asked another question that is building immunity, is that not a preventive measure? So I guess that's something
Yes,
which
it is. Like
we agree
I
to.
covered that
Yes.
already. I covered
Yes,
that already.
it is.
Building
It is.
immunity is one of the biggest preventive measures. And you can build your immunity by doing pranayam, by exercises, by consuming this kada and a lot of other
Vitamin
things.
C. Yeah,
Vitamin C and
right.
all these things. And also, yes, vitamin C and the lemon juices also. You take the fresh lemon juice and things like that.
Yes.
That of course. And Chyawanprash, like I told you, all those things. They help you in building up your
Absolutely.
immunity. That is very important. Very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's what Aarti was, was recommending. Maybe, herd immunity is what's the way forward right now. We've got to live with the virus. We've got to co-live with it, taking all the precautions and expecting maybe a herd immunity.
Yes, that of course. Even I've heard that one of that the herd immunity. A lot of doctors have got that view that once it comes, the stage comes to the herd immunity, then we will learn to live with it. But till then, the pandemic is quite dangerous. We cannot wait for the herd immunity to come, and in the process lose lot of lives. So we have to chip in our effort and make all our best efforts to ensure that nobody gets this COVID-19
Absolutely.
by taking all the precautions.
So, Colonel Sharma, how does your family right now feel? I mean, like you passed through hell and back. I mean, like your wife, your daughters, your brother-in-law. So now, reflectively, how do you feel? Do you feel that, oh my God, this is an experience? I think these are stories I'm going to tell my grandchildren. And do you feel that it had never happened to you? Or reflectively, just on a very pensive thought, what are your thoughts on that? How do you take this whole experience?
This experience has been very good, ma'am. And let me tell you, our family has come very close because we have been firstly quarantined all through, and we have started understanding each other quite well, and we have been having talks with each other. And afterwards, once when we became quite okay, we started playing games like Ludo and all those things together. So we spent a lot of time together, which we had never imagined earlier. Because all of us, my daughters and me, we were in the office, coming late and hardly finding time to say even hello to each other, and even not having the time to have meals together. So that kind of and so this is a very good point of the COVID and the lockdown which has happened, is that it has brought the families together. It has brought the relatives together. All the relatives who would not call for about months together or 6 months together were almost calling daily to find out how you were and how this thing. And then you feel, and your course mates were there, always everybody putting in message and all. And then you feel the strength of the blessings and the wishes and the prayers of such people, which helps you to tide over this and be on the recovery path. So we had a very good experience, ma'am, and at present also we are very happy that we are together.
You have tapped into your mental resilience. You have tapped into the mental resilience of your wife and your children. At any point of time, did that resilience slip? Did you ever feel that, oh my God, maybe I'm not going to make out of it? Did it ever, because there are so many, as you said, panic, anxiety, fear. So this is all about mental resilience. So did that ever slip to ever think that, oh, I think I'm going under, I don't think I'm going to see my family? Or it was just that mental determination, that grit which held on and said, "Nay, I'm going back. I'm going to be with my family."
Yes, see, like I told you, that if somebody is saying that there is no fear of life, then that person is telling lies. But there was a fear. You get the fear, and thereafter you to pull yourself together, and then you say, okay, that my military training tells me that yes, I have to fight it out, and I'm not going to be a silent spectator to it. So then you get your all strength and senses together, and then you and I never for once thought that I will not be making out of it, because see, I had built my immunity beforehand. Also, I used to play golf. I used to do exercises in the morning. I used to do my pranayam and all, and my food habits were also very good. So I never for once thought that I'll not be able to escape through. I had my a little doubt about my wife, because she was, like I told you, there was
Comorbid,
morbidity,
comorbid. Yes,
comorbid with
yes, yes.
the hypertension
Absolutely,
and diabetes and all that. But
absolutely.
knowing her resilience, I knew that she will be able to pull through. In fact, she is the most resilient out of all of us. So we were quite sure about it. So, and we kept pepping each other, we kept raising each other's morale, and that's why we came through it.
Building your inner resilience, your mental stress, avoiding any kind of negative fears, anxiety, mental stress, building your immunity in terms of lifestyle changes has brought this very brave colonel and his family out of COVID-19. We salute you, Colonel Sharma. We salute your family for showing us the way that at this very dreadful situation and the times that you have gone through, we, we were with you in spirit and in prayer, but you led the way of hope. You led the way that we can fight any battle through all these ways and these paths that you have shown us. Thank you very much, Colonel Sharma, to having joined us, to coming out in the open and sharing this social stigma which many people are scared to come out with. We salute you for this, and thank you for being so brave and being there for us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for having me on your show and giving my candid views about this experience that we went through. I am sure this will help some people who may need some help at that time. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye, Colonel Sharma.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.